just in general, like life now is so electronicized? What's the word I'm looking for? Electrized? Electronically? Oh my God, what is that word? If you are a photographer, videographer, tech enthusiast of any kind, what is the one thing that we take for granted when we have it, but are devastated when we don't, or when we run out? It's, power. We don't talk much about power in the photo, video, tech world because it seems like a boring topic, even though we all need it. Like if you run out of battery on your camera or your drone or your phone, you're in a world of hurt. Which is why, even though, again, it kind of feels like a boring thing to talk about, but things like this, power stations are incredibly important to the work that we do, and then just in general, like life now is so electronicized? What's the word I'm looking for? Electrified. The world today is so electrified that when you don't have electricity, you run out of power, you are just, yeah, I hate it. It's like drives me crazy, which is why I'm very stoked that we are talking about today the DJI Power 1000 and DJI Power 500. Listen. That's how you know it's DJI, that cute little sound. But today we're gonna talk about these two power stations from a very trusted brand, DJI, and why that kind of matters. First, let's hit on the specs of these two power stations. We'll talk about who should be buying these, like who should go for the 1000, who should go for the 500, and then we'll end again with like, are they good, and why does brand reputation matter so much in a category like power stations? Okay, specs on the DJI 1000, we have 1024 watt hours of power inside of here, and it can do up to 2000 watts output at a time. So you can plug in a bunch of different things up to 2000 watts, and this baby will be able to pump it out. You see on the front, we have two like wall outlet AC plugs. Those are very cool. Over here, we have some SDC plugs for doing solar charging, also drone charging. We'll talk about that in a minute. Probably my favorite thing on here though, is these two USB-C ports. Each of these two USB-C ports can output 140 watts. That is, I think it's the most I've seen on a power station, but that also means that just with like a single cable, I could just bring my laptop along, my MacBook Pro, pop it on here, and without having to bring the Apple charging brick or anything like that, I could just go USB-C, USB-C, and power lots. 140 watts is a lot. Then in addition to those two 140 watt USB-C ports is two 24 watt USB-A ports. These are great for charging things like my X4, my DJI mics, like smaller electronic items that don't draw a ton of wattage at once. Great for pulling from those. I do wish that they were all USB-C at this point. I kind of feel like we've made that transition into like one cable to rule them all. You should hope that any new device that comes out is only USB-C, but I mean, there's still a lot of USB-A devices out in the world, so I guess it is nice that we have USB-A ports. On the DJI Power 1002 though, I hope it's all USB-Cs and the whole world just goes to USB-C and I don't have to carry around like 15 different cables, because that drives me nuts. Then over to these SDC ports, these can fast charge DJI drones, and it's a bunch of the drones like Mavic 3 series, 10% to 95% in 32 minutes. The Air 3 series, the Inspire 3 series, this power station can fast charge all of those drone batteries from 10% to 95% power in about 30 minutes, which is incredibly, like fast charge technology in general, super impressive. This whole thing is actually fast charge. You can go from 0 to 80%, I think in 50 minutes, and then a full charge in 70 minutes. So this thing could be sitting here totally dead. I'm leaving in an hour. I throw it on the charger, and by the time I leave, I have somewhere between 80 and 100%. And you can charge this up multiple ways. I've got just like your normal power, like plug into my wall at home bit. And then I've also got the car charging bit. So while I'm driving down the road, I can have this thing plugged in to my car socket, and I could be charging up my battery bank in the back while I'm just driving along. That is super, super helpful. And then this guy can take up to 6 solar panels, can be plugged into this thing. So 6 100 watt solar panels, all plugged. They kind of sell like this like adapter bit that plug a bunch in, that then goes into here, and now you have 6 solar panels charging. I don't have any solar panels to charge this because they didn't send me any. But I'm usually either here at the house or I'm out in my van, so the car charger bit is probably the thing that I'm gonna use most. I'll probably charge this thing up in the van the most, and then here at the house when I'm here at the house. Okay, let's talk weight on this thing. This guy here, the big one, is 28 pounds, which is 13 kilograms, or about 13 kilograms. It's shockingly light, like it's got the 2 handles on it. Moving this thing around is not a big deal. Like I didn't at any point feel like I was lugging it around. And all of your ports are on the one side, so none of the other sides have anything. So if you're putting it in your van, in your car, however you're kind of setting it in there, everything is on this front side, including the charge port. So charging it up is on the front, and then all the outputs are also on the one side. But I will say, like when I heard that DJI was launching a 1,000 watt hour power station, I kind of thought it would be more expensive. This whole thing is only coming in at $699, but there's a ton of brands out there doing this. Compared to the market, this is incredibly competitively priced. As far as this cute little power station goes, the 500 is basically just the 1000, but literally in half. We do still have 2 USB-C ports on there, but they are now 100 watt ports, which is still a super fast port, but we have 2 of them on there. We have 2 USB-A 24 watt ports. Again, I just wish they were all USB-C ports. We have 1 SDC port, our charge port there. Still have 2 of the AC wall ports on there. And this thing still has a ton of power, and this is only $379. So I think here's kind of like where I put these two in relation to each other. This is much more like home backup / I'm gonna go on set. Like I'm gonna be filming something with maybe a bunch of cameras. I need to charge a bunch of different stuff off of this station. Like this is a pretty serious power station. This is my main light. This is an Aperture 300, and this thing I think runs at like 350 watts full power, which this thing could easily do. Again, 2,000 watts. I think I did the, where did I write it down? I did the math. Okay, my math might be terrible, but my math says that off of this power station, I could run a Aperture 300D for an hour and a half at full power. Now in here, I run this thing at 18% power. I've almost never gone over like 50-ish% power. So in theory, let's say that we're at 50% power on this light. We're talking 3 hours off of this thing and about 6 hours off of that. That is not perfect math. I don't even know if my math is good. If it's not, someone correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it's decent math. But this little guy, this is only 16 pounds. Like it's a very small, lightweight power station. I think most people can get away with picking something like this up for everyday usage, for run and gun shoots, like the kind of stuff that I do where I'm gonna go out and I realize like while I'm out, like, oh crud, my batteries for my drone are a little low. I can just plug into this 37, there you go. 37 watts that this charger is pulling, but this 500, it says that it can charge your mobile phone 28 times, which is absurd, 6 drone recharges, 28 digital camera battery recharges, and 4 laptop charges. Everything is basically doubled on the 1000. So that takes us to 57 mobile phone charges, 12 drone recharges, 59 digital camera battery charges. That's a lot. 9 laptop charges. And then because this thing can act as a home backup system, if you were to plug this into something like a refrigerator, probably like a normal, like, I don't know, mid-size refrigerator, you're looking at 45 hours of running a refrigerator off of this thing. So your power goes out, you don't lose everything in your refrigerator. You also do 92 hours of running a lamp or 1.2 hours of running a rice cooker. If you're in an emergency situation, I don't know that you need to run a rice cooker, but if you do, this thing can do it for 1.2 hours. Okay, so with battery stations in general, like they're kind of tricky to review, right? Like, has it performed as expected? 100%. Does it get the charge, the watt hours, the wattages out of all the different ports? 100%. And this is kind of where I go back to why this matters that it's DJI. Because DJI is using LFP cells in here, which promises 4,000 life cycles, which how they put that, that's 10 years of use in like a normal use case. I get way more use out of that though, because if you figure that out, like that's like recharging like a full cycle a couple of times a month. Is that what that is? I don't put my power stations through that much. I bring them out when I need them, but usually I'm just kind of keeping them near topped off so that when I need them, I have them, but I'm not using them like on a constant daily basis. So, okay. Somebody that's promising me 10 years of usage or 4,000 cycles, do I want to go with like a no-name brand that I just like don't have a lot of trust in that brand? As far as build quality goes, this feels very DJI-esque. As far as the materials, as far as how the screens work, how everything works on these feels very DJI-esque. And that's kind of where I go like, look, you do get brand trust when you've used a brand's products for so long. I've got all the DJI drones, I've got their action cameras, their microphones, their build quality and just reliability as a product is amazing. So I can trust that if I buy something DJI, it's going to last me, it's going to be reliable, and if I have any issues, I can reach out to that company. And when it's competitively priced against other brands that I don't have that with, when I'm just looking at the marketplace, I would go, yeah, like if this fits your needs power-wise and you have a similar experience with DJI that I do, I mean, it's a no-brainer. For me, this thing in particular is like a no-brainer. I would buy this, like everyone should have one of these. If you don't have any power station at all, I would say start with this thing. This is incredible. Like it would just be rad. Like even just going camping, like you can go camping for a few days and have power. This would be a killer setup. If you have more people or you're going longer, then obviously you have to jump up to this. If you don't own any sort of home backup, you want to be on this guy. A big chutes with a bunch of lights, all that kind of stuff. This guy, because you got the 2,000 watt output. This is only giving you 1,000 watts of output. Everyday power station, $379, and then like home backup, big boy, $699. Let me know what you think about the DJI Power Stations, 1,500, and I'll see you soon. This little guy is sturdy little fella. It's like squatty. This guy's like long, and this looks like a little squatty guy. Pick it up and you're like, ooh, it's like a little bulldog. Little power station bulldog. Rawr.